Helen here with Eyes on the Game, and I'm here being joined by the former WBO heavyweight champion, Joseph Parker. Now, always great to catch up with you. You just fought Anthony Joshua, but kind of a quick turnaround, and I spoke to your trainer, Kevin Barry, that it's not that quick because you're kind of used to fighting every few months. You're fighting Dillian Whyte, first off, what do you make of that, and how quickly the fight came together?
Well, yeah, firstly, it's going to be a great fight. Dillian Whyte's a fighter who he's ranked in the top in all the sanctioning bodies, and also he's a fighter who's young, like myself, hungry to be champion of the world, and it's going to bring out the best of me. And I feel that the fight was made very fast. We're looking at different options, and I think they were looking at the different options as well. But as soon as my promoter talked to me and said there's an option to fight him, I said yes straight away. He said yes straight away, so it made it a lot easier for the promoter to lock something in.
But what intrigued you the most about the fight with Dillian Whyte, where, like you mentioned, there were other, options?
Yeah, it made sense because he's as a fighter, I think a win over Dillian Whyte in the UK will bring us right at the top of the mix again, in terms of fighting for a title or closer to fighting for a title. And it made sense money-wise as well. So everything sort of added up, which we had a team discussion. Everyone agreed to it, and that's the reason why we locked it in.
Yeah, and you are fighting back in the UK, which brings me to kind of your last fight against Anthony Joshua there, and that is your first loss, but by decision. What did you take away from that loss?
After leading up to the fight and having the fight, I was happy with the lead up. I was confident, I was determined to win, and then the fight came, and I thought it was going quite well. When I rewatch it and talk to my coach, I think we didn't leave everything in the ring. In terms of, I had more energy to leave, but I didn't. So,
cautious.
I think I was a bit too cautious, and I didn't show the mongrel or the ruthlessness that I had in sort of previous fights.
Yes. Why do you think that? Do you think it was just like nerves, fighting at, something that caliber with so many people, or what do you think it was?
I think just the event, but also just trying to be, box smartly. But I think I boxed too smartly or too cautious that it wasn't, you got to throw punches to win. So, but credit to Joshua, he boxed like he boxed well that day, and that night, and he did, he was the better champion on the day.
Now, there has been a lot of controversy regarding the referee. I'm curious to know kind of what are your thoughts on that, and do you think if there was another referee in there, if the outcome may have been different?
The ref did his thing. You can't really blame the ref. It's if I threw more, if I landed more punches, I could have knocked him out, or I could have had more points. So I can't really blame the ref, and I just believe that can't really turn back time and change things. But I think if we adjust and change a few things that we saw, the weaknesses that we had in the fight, I reckon when we fight him again, it'll be different.
Yeah, and what surprised you the most about that fight?
What surprised me was it was just a great experience, to be honest. And I thought he would have been a lot more powerful than what he was, but maybe he didn't land anything flush, so didn't really feel the power that he had that everyone was talking about.
Yeah, well, speaking of power, though, he did tell Sky Sports, because obviously you and Dillian have both fought him, but that he feels that Dillian has more power and may knock you out. So what are your thoughts on him coming out and saying that?
His thoughts are his thoughts. He can't really, even though he fought both of us, it's different. You can't really call it, styles make fights. And I know Dillian has a lot of power, and he's got a good record. And he's the type of fighter who comes forward and throws a lot of punches in combination. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the fight because he's probably, for me, he's probably going to bring out more from me than Joshua did.
Yeah, and do you think that a different version of you will come out in this fight, a better version?
I think so. I think a better version because last camp we started a bit heavier. This camp we started at a good weight, but also that there's no problems with the elbows and there's no pain. So I think we're able to train from the beginning of camp to the end of camp 100%.
So you weren't 100% in your last camp?
No, probably after 5-6 weeks. Then we had to stop sparring sessions and all. There's no excuses though. It's part of the process.
Yeah, but you never really disclosed that.
No, that's an excuse. You know, we started feeling better probably 4 weeks from the fight, but.
And what do you think about how you and Dillian match up stylistically? I know you're quicker in there, and I know he did make a comment saying that, you know, about you bringing running shoes. What do you make of that?
You know, his style is to stand there and fight and trade punches. So I think he's trying to lure me into his sort of game plan. But you know, with the game plan that my coach Kevin has, I believe in and I trust in him. And we're going to box smart, but we're not going to move as much. You know, we're going to stand there and fight as well if we need to stand there and fight.
And what do you think about his power and also his last fight and knockout over Lucas Brown?
Oh, no, he looked tremendous. And congratulations to him for knocking out Lucas Brown, the first person to knock him out. But Lucas didn't look like he was in the best shape. And you know, it's not hard to hit someone who just stands there. But he, you know, he did great, and he. No, that's why a lot of people are supporting him and thinking that he's going to knock him out because he looks really good.
Yeah, but you have never been knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, how do you feel about that? Where people may say, hey, well, Joseph, you know, his chin, like, no one really knows how good it is.
You know, I back myself and I back my chin. But you know, boxing is one of those sports where one punch can change anything. It doesn't matter how good you are, how strong you are, if the right punch is connected at the right time. But, you know, like I said, I haven't dropped yet. And hopefully it never happens. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then also, is there something that you hope to capitalize on during the fight against Whyte?
I'd like to throw more punches. Like I watched some of my fights in the past. You know, I threw punches and bunches, combinations, and I was more relentless. And so I sort of caught this cautious sort of fighting style, but I want to go back to the mongrel.
Yeah, and then you also mentioned your weight and kind of starting at a better weight for this camp. Yeah. So will you be fighting around the same weight as the Joshua fight?
Most probably. I'll be fighting around the same weight. Maybe lighter, maybe a little bit heavier, but around that sort of weight is where we felt comfortable, where we felt like we had good movement and good speed. It felt like, you know, everything was flowing nicely.
And lastly, if the Joshua and Wilder fight does actually happen, first off, do you think it will happen this year? And how do you see that fight playing out?
No, I hope it happens. Yeah. I think a lot of people want it to happen. You know, we want to see who the best heavyweight in the world is. So it just comes down to, I think what I read, they've sort of agreed to the terms. Personally, I think Wilder knocks him out. But, you know, that's just me.
Which round?
I don't know. In the middle of the, you know, in the middle, somewhere in the middle.
Maybe 6, 7.
Maybe 6, 7. But I just feel, you know, Wilder's similar style to myself, but he's a lot taller and a lot more, you know, and he's got a big right hand. So, but I mean, if the best Joshua shows up, you know, you never know. That's why boxing is one of those things. That's why this fight's so intriguing, because it's like you're not really sure which way it'll go.
Exactly, but your fight is intriguing as well, coming up July 28th in the UK once again. And how do you feel about fighting there once again?
Hey, listen, we're going to make the UK our home ground of fighting. You know, the heavyweight scene's there at the moment, so for us to be a part of it, to be fighting heavyweights on that side of the world, it's pretty awesome. So, and we're looking at doing well for this fight and hopefully keep fighting there again. But
you're going to keep training in Vegas, though, right?
Vegas is where we have a great setup. Yeah. You know, we have our private gym. Kevin lives not far from here. We got everything that we need here. So I think don't change our winning formula. Even though we lost the last one, don't change our winning formula that we're happy with.
Yes, and it is redemption for the next one, right?
It is.